The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's start this conversation. Let's start this conversation. We got no relation.
Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you are listening to or watching live the Angel Rock and UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. I see Tia Bean there. Welcome, Tia Bean. And I see Miss Carrie Lynn. Hello, I haven't had time to talk to you today, so I hope you've had a good day, everybody. Anyways, you're listening live on UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. Like I said, my name's Lorilei Potvin. I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, and mentor. I'm also a registered nurse. I always say budding animal communicator, and then Julie Jean Bassett pops in here. She's my mentor for animal communication. I've also studied near-death experiences professionally and personally for over 40 years, and I believe I had one as a toddler myself, and I'm extremely well-versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for the paranormal, it found me, and we shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor, Season 4, Episode 9. I didn't name it either. It's called Demonic Hauntings, but interestingly enough, and I'm going to throw this in here, you're going to see a familiar face if you watch that episode. You can find it on YouTube or anywhere, and I did not know this person at this time, but I do now. It's Michelle DeRoche, who is our station manager. So small world, right? So just a few little extra things here. What else do I want to tell you guys? Oh, how could I forget? On Mondays here on UPRN, Carnation, the big brand Carnation, they sponsor all the shows on Mondays, and it's called Carnation Mondays. So I want to really thank Carnation for doing this, as well as you guys are watching. If you happen to see Carnation and you're out shopping, please support them, because they support us here to bring all these great shows to us here. So this network does broadcast to every country in the world. 80% of our audience is only audio only. So if you're listening live and you're wondering, how do I join in the conversation? We have a wonderful live chat group here. I see Contessa there. Yeah, Michelle, Carrie Lynn just said we love and appreciate Michelle. We definitely do. So I'll go through it quickly, but this is a way you can join in the chat. On Facebook, you can go to my Facebook profile under Lorilei Potvin, also UPRN's Facebook profile under UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. Under that same name, we're streaming on our main YouTube channel for UPRN. We are also streaming on our Twitch channel for UPRN. We are streaming on LinkedIn under Lorilei Potvin, and also the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin on YouTube. Then we are streaming on the owner of the network. I want to give him a huge shout out, Joe Montaldo. He provides this amazing space. I believe we're at 30 plus live hosts here, and I'm borrowing his Rumble because he has more followers than I do. Lastly, we are on Instagram under the Angel Rock. I will pop back and forth to try and say hello to everybody over there. Also, what else do I want to tell you guys? Oh, you can, if you want, you can watch us on TV. The network does have its own TV channel. You're going to go to Roku and go to the channel store. You're going to type in the search box UFO space P as in paranormal, and there's a drop-down list. You're looking for about the third or fourth one down, which says UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio. And that's how you can watch us on TV. What else do I want to tell you guys here? Oh, I'm going to give a little warning. I don't usually have to, but I am, because we've had a few people not so kind in the chat. So I'm giving you your heads up now. You're welcome to stay. People are welcome to have their opinions, as long as you can do it kindly. And no name calling, no picking on anybody, anything like that, because I'm going to boot you if you're here. We don't have that kind of space here. And hopefully everybody plays nice. Most of our chat usually does. And just so you know, there is something for everybody on this network. It's not all just UFO and paranormally type things. We are always bringing on new shows and new hosts, and I invite you to check it out. You can go to our website. It's getting revamped at the moment, but there you can still see the shows. It's www.uprntalkradio.com. Now, did I remember everything? I think I did. I got a little checklist here. So now on to my guest. I have been so excited about having her on. I would say she's also become a bit of a friend. I've been with chit-chatting and getting to know her. We both have quite the hair here. I've got purple, you've got pink. So her name is Asria Beckham, and she's over in the UK. So I appreciate you staying up late tonight to join us. A little bit about Asria. She's a multidimensional guide, an alien DNA translator who helps people reconnect with their star origins, soul frequency, and inner sovereignty. With over 15 years of experience working with star beings, spirit realms, and energy transmissions, she supports others in raising their vibration, healing from spiritual distortion, and embodying their true path. Her work has been featured on platforms like Spirit Switchboard, which is our own Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, Fridays at 6 p.m. Also, how could I forget? Carrie Lynn and I also have a second show on the network here on Thursdays, 7 p.m. Beneath the Hollow Moon. And a little birdie told me, Carrie Lynn, don't get mad at me. I don't think she will. It's her birthday that night too. So not only are we doing water creatures and mermaids and Lorelei's, which I am actually named after, and Selkies and all kinds of things, we're going to have a little bit of a party for her. Sorry, I have to go on from my your bio here, Asria. Asria has also been on Shaun Attwood's channel and Lady D's channel on YouTube, where she shares powerful insights on psychic protection, galactic contact, and the reality of awakening. You also have your own YouTube channel, Asria at Asria Official, where she shares starseed teachings, DNA activations, and intuitive guidance to support planetary and personal transformation. And I'm reading all of your bio because there's a lot of information in here. I think it's amazing. Asria's journey includes working with a frequency object. I have one, but not quite the same. I was the one calling it the unicorn horn, but yours is on, I know yours is on like a bit of a chain for a pendulum. We're going to talk about that, I know. Sorry, but over time she came to understand that her gifts were never outside her. They were always encoded within. She now teaches others that you are the technology. The key to your awakening is already inside you. I concur 100%. She also brings deep personal wisdom through her Survivor to Sovereign Path, a soul-led journey of healing from child abuse, narcissistic trauma, and spiritual interference. Through this lived experience, she helps others reclaim their voice, clear energetic distortion, and return to the truth of who they are. Whether you're newly awakening or walking the deeper path, Asria's presence is a powerful blend of the cosmic and the human, and her message is clear. If you feel the resonance, you're already on your way home. Welcome, Asria.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody.
That's a fantastic bio. Let's say hi to everybody because we're going to get talking, and I know I'm going to try and watch the questions and the comments here, but hang on. So we have Tia Bean says, good evening, Lorilei and Asria. Really looking forward to the show. Thank you for joining us. Carrie Lynn, hi, ladies. And hello at Tia Bean. So good to see you here. Contessa Martin says, hello, ladies. Tia Bean says, hi, Carrie Lynn. She's saying hi to her. We got Kirby's 100 saying hello. And of course, I knew it. Julie Jean Bassett. She says, hi, Lorilei and everyone. Julie, were your ears burning because I was talking about you? So I always give Julie a shout out. Never mind that I adore her and she's become a dear friend. If you guys are out there having problems with your fur babies, your animals, and you're doing stuff that you're at your wit's end, like you just don't know what to do, I'm telling you, Julie can help you. She's helped with many of my animals personally. She's also an incredible pet medium. I cannot believe what she knows about animal healing on top of it. And she's also a shamanic practitioner. And I've had a session with her that was life-changing. I think I'm just about due for another one pretty soon. So you can get a hold of her at juliejeanbassett.com or on Facebook under the same name. She has a page there for the animal stuff. She has a new website. I have it written down, Julie. I can't say I forgot anymore, for the shamanic practitioner things. And it is, I got to open my other phone. Give me a sec. I have it written down. It's www.whitetail I think it's shamanic. Give me a sec. I almost had it there. Of course, like I can't talk and do this at the same time. So give me 1 sec. 598. Give me a sec. I had it written down. I know I did. So bear with me, guys. Is that what I want? Yes, there we go. Yes, Whitetail Shamanic Healing. I didn't know if I figured the healing was in there. .com. So you guys check her out because she's really incredible and does such phenomenal work with animals and people. She's an incredible healer. Okay, we got Michelle Wilfong here. Michelle, we're kicked off of TikTok again because I didn't use TikTok's live software. So I think we may have it back for Thursday night. Always give Michelle a shout out because she's my mod over on TikTok. She does such a great job. She has a TikTok channel under Michelle Wilfong, My Haunted Apartment on TikTok. Check it out. She's got some crazy stuff on camera. Crazy, crazy. Let's see. Heidi Gall's here. She says hi and much love from Boulder. James Mashburn. Hello, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Oh, Carrie Lynn says, all good. I'm going to dress up as a lady of the swamp for Thursday's show because we always dress up for Thursdays. It's like Halloween every week. Janie Mashburn. I don't, hopefully I didn't read your name incorrectly the first time. Let's see. Everybody's just saying hi to one another. I love that. Oh, and Tia Bean says she can't wait for the birthday show. Me neither. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through. Oh, okay. Janie Mashburn. She says, hello, Lorilei. I'm a longtime viewer of The Outer Realm. Hello, Asria. Saw you ladies last week, I believe. This is your first time being on this show. I know that, right? So let's talk about you. I always like to start at the beginning. So when did you realize I want to, before I even ask this question, I want to mention we were going to do my own alien DNA this time, but the way our schedules were, it did not work out. But I said, you know what? We're going to do it next time because I'm going to have her on again. With that being said, where did this all start for you? Like, how did you know you had these abilities and connection to off-world beings and such?
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, to be honest, I was really back when I was very, very young. And probably from the age of about 5 that I remember. Now I won't bore your listeners, but it was really, the spirit world to me wasn't anything new. Ever since I can remember going to my great-grandmother's house and seeing the little boy in the garden and the little girl who lived in the spare room was normal. I mean, bearing in mind, I'm an only child. So having going to my grandmother's and having sort of other little boys and girls around was wonderful.
Yeah, I bet.
Because when I was at school, I was the girl who used to sit and stare at the daisies and see what I now know as the elementals dancing around it, where everyone else was going off and playing catch and all those types of things. So, again, seeing all these different colours round people, to me, that was normal. So growing up, obviously in the UK over the years and sort of the 80s, 90s and so on,
sorry, just highlight
being in certain places, you kind of picked up on various energies. But I'm just going to kind of skip through a few years here. And it was really probably around late teens, early 20s, where I really, really went through a kind of life decision, if you like. So you very kindly mentioned there around those middle years of abuse and one thing and the other. And I really did have that kind of moment in time where I was challenged as to go, are you staying with the light, or not necessarily going with the dark, but kind of, you know what, has the light really worked for you up until this point, being with a paedophile and all of these types of things, which obviously that's a discussion for another time. But the main point that I really wanted to get across is I remember I was standing in a kitchen with my mentor, and it was this moment of the room was light, it was on a summer's day, and the walls just turned a very, very dark color. And that was the minute where my guide came in the strongest. And I met him for the very, very first time, and I must have been in my mid-teens at that point.
Right.
Because it's kind of like, how could I have gone through all of this stuff and still believe that there was light and still believe that there was goodness? And it was kind of like, no, that has never, ever waned. And that was the moment where it switched. And this being was, I'm getting all goosebumpily. Getting all goosebumpily. Was standing in the corner of this room. And it was very, very dark blue. I mean, I couldn't really tell the difference between the walls and the walls and him. And then all of a sudden, it was kind of like the sun turned on again. And I think after that, I felt like I slept for like 2 days.
Oh, wow.
And we went through over the next 2 days of kind of the introduction with him and the connection with him a bit more. Again, all through sleep. And I believe I was taken to various places within that time. But one thing I think the listeners might find quite interesting is that I'm slightly neurodiverse myself, as you know, with being dyslexic and things. So names and things like that are always really, really bad for me. And he was telling me his name, and I was like, there is no way on earth I'm ever going to remember this.
Yeah.
Seriously, really, really not. And so I was like, is there a way in which I can communicate with you, please, that I can actually remember? And some people will know, in the UK, there's a comedian many years ago, maybe showing my age a bit here, called Norman Wisdom.
Okay.
So he was then known as Norman. And when he used to come in, he was known as Storming Norman.
Okay.
And that was how I was really starting to work and started that integration. And then the story just goes on from there. But that was really the main time when, to me, it was that switch of going, yes, I've always known, going through everything I have, that I do have that connection. And I was also doing readings as well within that.
Oh, wow.
Let's talk about the bad time. And I always had that faith and that trust.
I was going to add one thing. So I've always had my gifts. I've always had experiences, but I didn't really take it seriously till I went through the extreme haunting that I went through. But even as a nurse, a room I would have checked last right after a report, I'd hear, you need to go in that room. I remember walking in and this poor man having a cardiac arrest in front of me, because I used to work nights and you'd have about 60 people, right? And he would have been in the last room I checked, and I just knew, I heard, you need to go in there. But what I was going to say to you was my partner I'm with, at the time we were just friends. I always say we're kind of the second version of two families. We have the same aunt and uncle through marriage. And anyways, we were just friends, and we connected because I could tell he could understand some of the spiritual things I had been looking into, like really getting into angel cards and things. And I said to him, I'm only doing angel cards because I only want to work with the light. That's all I want to do. And I've never forgotten this. This was like 17, at least 17 years ago. And he said, Laura, if you're going to be doing this kind of work, you need to know both, so you know the difference, right? And that's what that reminded me of. Shared that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I really, really could not agree with you more. I've heard very similar things with clients. Oh, the bad doesn't exist, and the bad won't touch me if I just focus on the light. But it's the balance. And you need to know one to know the other. So I absolutely agree with you there. And then I think with my story was then, that was the moment that I really kind of started, as I said, working with my guides. And from there, loads of experiences of beings in my room, especially of the feline nature that I'm becoming more and more aware of. And then it was really a time when, yeah, we're probably talking a few years down the line, that I started questioning more. I started questioning, well, hold on a minute. We've got like this Big Bang Theory and that we come from apes. But then we're now started talking about starseeds more and different planets and different galaxies. And I was aware that these beings were around and connecting with them. But I was like, surely you kind of go from the Big Bang Theory to apes to starseed. I was like, my neurodiverse brain just can't quite compute.
Me too. None of it makes sense. None of it.
To me, it didn't make sense. So I started asking my guides the question when I would go into meditation, and at the time, which I thought was channeling, but as time has gone on, it's really that I find that ourselves are a little bit more like a radio. So you'll hear me saying transmissions more and more. And then I think it was probably around, as I said, a few years later, where I was then introduced to a new set of beings. And that was really when the feline started to come on board more and more. And it was when I was out on they call it a CE5. So when you go out into the middle of a field with a group of people, go into meditation and look up and connect, that they were literally, two beings were standing next to me, and getting all goosey again. And it was literally, it's time. And I was like, time for what? Time to go home?
What?
Time to get another hot water bottle because it's in the UK and it's frigging freezing. Who knows? But then from there, I started to have more and more beings come through, and now, over the past few years, they are known as the group of scholars.
Interesting.
And those are where I started to get my transmissions through.
So
because
a collective?
It isn't necessarily, as I was saying before, a channeling per se, because I'm not allowing sort of the being to come in and take over. It's those frequencies, it's those messages. And I had a friend provide an amazing QHHT session, the Dolores Cannon one. Yeah. Slightly after the time of the CE5. And I was taken up, and they were all standing in this circle. Originally, there was 25. And now we're up to about 75 beings.
Wow.
But every single time I go up, there's more and there's more. But just kind of going back in the story a little bit, is I've always really enjoyed, and I picked up my first pendulum, probably similar to yourself, when I was about 12. So dowsing and divination, again, is always something that I've been really interested in. And working with ley lines, working with the different energies over time, helping with house clearances, etc. So when I, again, was starting to ask the questions, I was very much provided with, as you've rightly pulled earlier, is the unicorn.
I don't have the chain, but I have it.
So it's a gorgeous piece of the selenite crystal. And I mean, this was work. And I think maybe I'm missing the point here, is this was work over a 5-year period. This wasn't like over a weekend or something. This has been something that I was working on, and I've got all my books and notes and everything over 5 years. And like, I would get a few messages, and then it'll be like I wouldn't really get too much for a while, because it's then I had to sit down and process and go through and learn. But then as soon as I kind of started pulling this together, and it's got silver on the top, and copper cord.
Did you make that, Asria?
Yeah. So as your wonderful crystal there, it was putting the silver on the top,
on the top,
and then attaching attaching the copper.
Okay, I got a question for you. Julie asked a question too. So
Yes,
the reason why, the only time I use a pendulum, I can use my body as a pendulum, that's not a problem.
yes.
But when I use a pendulum, I'll use it for crystal Reiki because I don't have a vested interest in it. But I'm guessing with the weight of the unifier, you couldn't, because like I call this my stupid pet trick, and I know people can't see my elbow, but I can tell you what it's like. It's going to move back and forth. This one's a bit heavier. Stop. Okay, then I can get it to go counter or clockwise and stop, right? Because we know how to manipulate energy.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't use pendulums so much. So do you find, because of the weight of that crystal, because that would take a lot of energy to, I'm getting goosebumps now, to be able to manipulate it, and a lot of concentration. Not that you would want to, right? Because I know when you're doing these readings and you're connecting to, you said the scholars, is collective of the scholars.
Yeah, so it's a triangulated approach.
Okay.
It's a triangulated approach. So I absolutely agree with everything that you're saying there, and I've been teaching dowsing on and off for years, so very much so there is a way in which, because everyone says, oh, yes means it needs to go in a certain direction and no means it needs to go in. No. Everyone works in their own way. I remember
my crystal pendulum every time, because sometimes it just switches up on me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember when I was taught no, I thought, oh, mine isn't working, it's not moving. And I've forgotten the name of the gentleman who taught me many moons ago in the London psychic college.
You guys are so.
And he said no. He said yours is simple. I said, why is that? He said, no, it is not moving. That is your no. It is not moving. And I was like, oh yeah. So anyway, I digress. Going back to the unicorn. So once you tune in, and again, need to get permission, as you know, with any energy work. Once you have that permission from that individual, then you tune in to their toroidal field. So you're going all the way in, all the way through those different layers until you're at the center. Sometimes you also start connecting in with your rays of intention as well, because that's where a lot of the information is held. So not only are you going into that onion, but you're also kind of going into that your main connection. So, but for me, as the radio, as the one receiving all these frequencies, I don't use the unicorn as much as I used to. But it's a triangulated approach. So you've got yourself, you've got the feeling that I get depending on the being. So a couple of examples would be, and some of these may seem obvious, and I absolutely understand that. So for example, if it's any type of reptilian, I go cold from head to foot. If it's a Pleiadian race, all of my head goes very, very light and very, very warm. If it's Assyrian, I normally get quite a heavy chest. So I've kind of got water. Felines, doesn't matter. I've seen a question in there. Doesn't matter what race, if it's felines, all the hairs on my arm stand up. So that's your second. And then the third one is if it's one of the 72 that I mentioned earlier, as the scholars, they will step forward.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering.
So
because how do you know? Yeah, how do you know if it's a new race? Because like the last time I was watching right up till Christmas, and then it got really sick with pneumonia after Christmas, and then I lost my son. So I kind of stayed away. But now, I mean, you're up to 72. So how do you know, like, to associate the energetic or physical, you're getting physical responses with race that you don't know, like you haven't met yet before?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a wonderful question. Thank you. And the main thing is where I'm getting more and more visuals. More and more visuals. I mean, I didn't think I got the kitty cat. That's what I mentioned, the felines, and they go.
She came right when you said it, and everybody knows who she is. They'll go, "Oh my gosh, it's Stephen Nicole." I joke that she wants to be a podcast star. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. But for an example, I never imagined that I would get dragons, the dragon DNA. And over the past few months, that is becoming more and more switched on, more and more powerful. But for myself, I never even thought in a million years or linked that into the DNA. And what happened is when I, again, doing the same thing, sitting there, tuning in, and my main guy kept on saying to me, look up. Anyway, eyes closed and my head looked, and nowhere there was this, like the under chin. I think I've told this story a few times, but
I haven't heard it.
For me, it was, I was like, what the hell? Where's the dragons come from? But then it was like, I'm just so nosy and so cheeky. I just kept on asking more questions like, what are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
Are you a protector? Are you a guide? Are you a part of this person's frequency?
Yeah.
And for this particular lady, it was all three. And even though this dragon appeared very white to me, all the underneath was very white.
Right.
It actually transpired that it was a natural dragon. It was a nature-based dragon. Because one of her other frequencies that was coming through was elementals, which we then learned later on down the line. So you can see how the two were working together. But I think kind of some of the beings that you were also referring to earlier was around like the bills and the nahars and ones like that, which in all honesty do take a little bit more time and effort, because if it isn't one of the ones that will step forward and it's not a feeling that I particularly am aware of, it does then take further time and exploration. And I must confess that I do also then refer to some of the other people within the community.
Sure.
Such as, I mean, you've got some of the Dolores books, you've got Elena, you've got Barbara, and so on, just to see if they've been mentioned anywhere else, if they can be picked up anywhere else. I mean, the last time I got another being that, again, I couldn't find anywhere else, which was the Nahars, and I still to this day don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
I just remember seeing Big Homie CC's reading on Shaun Attwood's channel, and he was so blown away. For those of you who may not know who Big Homie CC is, I mean, you got to check out his channel. I never had heard of him till I saw him on Shaun's channel, and he's a big hulk of a guy. He wears black glasses, sunglasses. He's been on Piers Morgan quite a bit, a few times, and he does. I'm probably not going to say it correctly, but he does bodyguarding and security for very wealthy, usually women, is it not? He's also, I know, contacted by the Vatican. Yeah. So he's this big, tough guy. And when he heard your revelation of his reading, oh my gosh, it blew me away, because you could tell he was totally shocked. And you encountered a race that you had never, is that who you were talking about, the Nahar? Is that?
No, there was yes, I know the one that, you're referring to, because with, I'm just asking for the name again, but it was ones that are pure consciousness. They actually do not have a physical body.
Right. Thank you.
And I'm really sorry, listeners. I genuinely cannot recall the name. But yeah, if you go back and have a look at that one. And one of the reasons that came up.
The interview. So I can share it.
That one came up is it was, kept on being shown just like this galaxy, and I was like, well, this isn't a being, and they kept on saying it is, and I'm like, but it's just stars. And they're like, it is. So I then had to sit down time and time and time again. And it was only after about the second or third. And also, as I mentioned before, I was looking at other people within the community as well, their books and references to see if anything sort of came out, or if I was being directed in the right direction. Because as I said, you do have your overall beings, the ones that are well known, Pleiadians, Lemurians, etc. But as we're learning more and more every single time, which is one of the bits that I find most fascinating, is that there's galaxies upon galaxies.
Yes.
And that there's races upon races. I mean, I think there was a question from one of the listeners there about the different races of felines, I beg pardon.
I started.
And absolutely.
I'll put it up
yeah.
for you.
Thank you.
So Julie's asking, I'll read it out just for people that are listening. What feline race was it? The Uma or another feline race?
The one that I was referring to earlier was, I have heard of them on, and it was one of the more of the, what's the word I'm after? More of the military races, and the name isn't coming to mind, but it was more of one of the more military races.
Well, plus,
but again, as I was saying,
I was just going to add one thing, Asria. Sorry, I've got a bit of a delay. I should have warned you that before, so I apologize for speaking over you. But for people, and most people that do this work, but we have people that just pop on here, never even heard any of these terms before. But when we do the work that we do, a lot of times we don't retain what we've picked up afterwards, because, gosh, can you imagine how full our heads would be, right? With the amount of readings you do, I do, anybody else. And especially if you are in with the council and you're connecting, you get the information, and then, you write it down, you give it to the client, and then it doesn't usually sit forever, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to share that.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much, because and that is very much the case, and that is why now one of the things I'm starting to do is actually put a dictaphone on, like a recording device, because again, with this work that's progressing literally month on month. I mean, the one I done for Big Homie, and thank you for mentioning that one, that was picking up what I call the level 1, the level 2, and the level 3. So the level 1 is the most dominant DNA, so the most dominant connection that we have at this time. Then the next one is the second dominant. And some people have 2 or 3 dominants, and then they have the detected. And one thing before I move on, which I would like to just explain, if that's okay.
We can go anywhere you want to go with this, because I will add again for people just tuning in, so we're talking about alien or off-world DNA. I have a question for you too afterwards. I'll try to remember this, or somebody keep record for me after you finish what you're going to say. Why does our DNA connect to off-world beings? Because it's not quite physical, is it? It's more energetic, isn't it?
You were reading my mind, because that's exactly what I was just going to go into.
No, really?
That was literally what I was just
about. There you go.
So, because I realized I was kind of going off on a tangent there, and I was like, I don't think, we've covered this. So,
okay.
In answer to your question.
Thank you.
So, if I start off with, and again, however you believe our soul was made and created, the individual soul. Okay, so that was created in a galaxy, in a star system, whether it be on a Pleiadian planet, Lemurian, and so on and so forth. And that's where we start then focusing on what is the star seed. So where your soul originally kind of was birthed, created, started off from, whatever terminology you would like to use.
Right.
Okay. It then I'm going to use the word time loosely because we all know that's a human construct.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But for the purposes of this explanation, you then decided, oh, hold on a minute, there's that really nice planet over there named Gaia or Tara or whatever it is you want to call it at the time. Yeah. So we then decided, okay, well, let's go and try that planet over there. So this soul, this starseed soul, whether it be Lemurian or so on, decided that it was going to come to Tara, to Earth. But all through that time, while it's going around in all the different galaxies, you're picking up and you're meeting with other beings.
Okay.
You're then being on other planets as well. I mean, if we even look at the fact of like the different wars that have gone on in the galaxies with the reptilians and the Lyrans and so on and so forth. I mean, I'm not going to go into a whole history lesson here, but just to bring it back to point, is that within that soul, we have then collected all these different little bits of vibration and frequency.
Gotcha.
Within this bubble. Okay, we've had connections with different star beings.
Okay.
And we also have those beings that travel with us when we refer to, say, our spirit guides. They can be ancestors, they can be star beings, they can be all sorts. So what I then do is, as I mentioned earlier, is tune in to you, into that toroidal field, going right the way in, right, to the center, where that close to where that ray of intention is. And at this moment in time, what I'm asking is, what is the highest frequency? What being is showing up? So your whole soul as a starseed could be, I'll just give an example, which hopefully might make a bit more sense. So that soul might be a Pleiadian starseed. Absolutely, 110%. Brilliant. But actually within there was one lady, and who she may be on here, and I really hope so, who said a really great thing, and it might have even been on Spirit Switchboard, that said, we're all a galactic mud. Because we do have all these different frequencies and beings within us. And I find it the most extraordinary and the most exciting, not only to be on this planet at the moment, but so for us to have this knowledge that we can pick and we can tune into these frequencies and these abilities and these behaviors of these different beings within us, that we can now utilize and we can now use on this planet for our own spiritual journey, for our own ascension, for our own, but again, for the ascension and the awakening and the heightening of the frequency of this planet that we've decided that we wanted to experience, because and have this human experience. We can have the human experience, but this time with a bit of a twist, with a bit of an advantage, because we know, say like 10, 20 years ago, we wasn't really talking about starseeds, but we are more and more now, which is so exciting.
I wanted to add, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So what we then do is, as much as we can go up to the Akashic records and find out where we've been and what planets we've been to and who we've traveled with and everything like that, which again is an incredible thing. But what is in this bubble we call ourselves, our souls, our being, what is in that toroidal field? And that's what I'm doing, is going in there and finding out, okay, what frequencies, what beings are in there that this person can then pick up. And if it aligns with you, if it feels right for you, that you can then be able to go, right, yeah, actually, I've had so many clients say to me, now that makes sense to me. Because they realize, well, why do I have this gift? Or why do I love being in the water? Or why do I? And I'll go on to a few more examples a bit later on, especially around neurodiversity, because it's quite a thrilling subject a bit later on.
I was going to,
as I said, at this time and space.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we can then say, right, okay, well, I've got, even though I'm at X starseed, fantastic, but the frequency that I'm actually working with and working on could be Syrian, or said it could be more working with the dragons or mermaids or Lemurians or
fairies,
whatever the case may be. And we look at all the different ones, whether it's a high frequency, a mid frequency, or a low. Or in some of the work I do, we look at all of them.
I love it.
I hope that answers the question.
It does, but I was sorry, I had a pause, and you guys, and it's been so bad on Thursday nights. Carrie Lynn and I have had like a 20-second delay between the two of us. I'm sorry, I have no idea why. But what I was going to say is there's some ladies I get together, there's 4 of us, but we cover 5 countries from around the world, and we connect with spirit. One weekend there was just 2 of us, and this particular individual is a close friend of mine, very much into exactly what we're talking about, and has had some very interesting experiences, as have I, with off-world beings. But it came to us all of a sudden that Spirit gave us this. You know how to do this already. Like, basically what was being said from Spirit was, you don't need to fret about it. You don't need to, you don't have to think like, how am I going to do this? How am I, really getting worked up, because you've already done it. You've already done it. Just, going into meditation, being open to it, stating what you wish to access, right? And if it's meant to be within your frequency, your vibration of where you are at that time, it will come. And trusting and knowing, especially we found in a meditative state, that you know your way to whatever it may be, a gift, whether it may be knowledge, whether you may need to see a vision or whatever, because we've already done it. We just haven't been programmed to know or see this, right? And you just explained that so beautifully to me and the rest of us, so thank you.
That's wonderful. I completely and utterly agree. 110%. It's the case of, we could go into the program on this planet and how we've been turned off and tuned out and things like that. Absolutely. And that's why I say to my clients, if what I'm saying resonates with you and aligns with you, then work with it.
Yep.
Because a lot of people say, well, who's my spirit guides, and I can't hear them and things like that. And that's perfectly okay. And sometimes we have such an expectation of what we should be hearing or we should be doing, or I'm not doing it the same way as that person, or
that's okay,
things like that. And with this, it's exactly as you were saying. It's just going back within. All I'm doing is just giving you a bit of a roadmap.
Yes.
Just giving you a bit of a roadmap to say, actually, you can go there because that's actually possible. That's in there for you. Go grab it. Go and have a play with it. Go and start connecting with the felines.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people want a name. or a vision or
But they
an
don't
image.
use names. They don't use names. We as humans
No.
do, but they don't. So I never
No.
worry about names either, because
No.
as you explained about connecting to the different races, once we start to tune in. And the other thing I'm going to add too, because once upon a time ago, yes, I wanted to know what the name of my guides were and stuff too. But now that I've learned more and worked more within this field for many years, right? You'll know when they come to you, be able to feel the difference. The other thing that I'd love to hear your thoughts on is that, because you touched on it, that, you know, some people will always compare ourselves to other people, that we're not able to do it like they do, or whatever it may be. And we're actually setting up, one of my close friends and I, our first course, hopefully in the fall, to start teaching. And what it is first of all, it can't be forced. You need to just be open and relax. When you try and force it, the block goes up. You want to call it the ego, whatever pops in, you will be stopped. But the other thing I've really noticed, and I think Spirit has given me too, is we all have a doorway open into our gifts. And I'll say, for example, with my close friend, hers is music. And it is so powerful for her. For me, it's creation. So when I'm painting or creating something with resin, right, I'm relaxed. I'm not thinking about things. That's when I do most of my spiritual work. And those don't have to be the doorways for anybody. But when I'm saying, I think it's important to discover the doorway, which it sounds like you may very well be able to help with the readings that you're doing as well.
100%. And following on from what clients have said to me before, is similarly is that, I always knew that I was a creative person, but
Yes.
I don't know why, because none of my family are. What it's like, but try it. Absolutely. And it's almost kind of giving yourself that permission. It's giving yourself permission to actually go, yes, I am different, I am unique, and if that's what I like, that's what I like. And I think that very much it's the case of people have maybe like an idea that they will have particular gifts or particular likes, and when we actually discover, for an example, I want to bring up the mermaids again, because that was something again that was so fascinating for me. Again, I would never have thought in a million years, even though you do have the mermaids within Lemuria, you do have them in the Syrians as well, is that voice. And I've had clients say that, oh yeah, I really do enjoy singing. I was like, but no, everyone says I don't really have a good voice, but use it.
Yeah.
And I've got one client in particular, and she has just gone from absolute strength to strength. Very and the most amazing, I think it's arias, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
Are really starting to come out, because she's tuned into that energy. She's tuned into that frequency. And is just the mantras and the words and that's just coming out now is absolutely incredible. But they just needed that kind of one little push to say, you know what, it's okay. And that they had that area within themselves to focus on and to tune into. And I mean, she now obviously calls when she goes and sings. She said, "I'm tuning into Ariel." Obviously,
Oh, I love it.
So I'm tuning into my Ariel. Said I'm tuning into my mermaid.
Yeah, I love it.
But there's I could be here telling loads of stories like that. But I think it really, really is, as you said, just giving yourself that permission.
I agree. I'm going to read a few comments here. We had a few people pop in. I saw Julia Evans, who is over in the UK. So we thank her for coming in late at night too. Let's see. I wanted to go back a little bit. I forgot to warn you. I usually just wave at people when they come up on the screen. So we've got Tristan Jacobson said, powerful collective. Hang on. Aziz and Dragon. And I joke and always say I call him by his muggle name, Kevin, because that is his muggle name. And we got Mort Ali popping in saying hello. There was somebody else. I think I don't know if I said hi, so please forgive me. I think I did say hi to Janie Mashburn and to Patsy Foister. Maybe I didn't. If I missed you, I apologize. We also, Constance, I don't know if you're still there or not. Constance Victoria Briggs joined in on Instagram. She's been on the Angel Rock a couple times too. So thanks for popping in. But there was a comment by Kevin here. He said, I always get the name of the guide, but I do recognize their energy signature. I have had some quote unquote spirits come forth attempting to imitate my main guide. I can always see and sense the signs and know. Mm-hmm.
That is very good.
Well, it's kind of like they're wearing a mask, right? Like they may try, if they're gonna try and imitate someone, and once you tune into the energy, and this is gonna sound foreign to some people who've never even heard these terms before listening, because not everybody listening comes from a spiritual background, right? Mm-hmm. But you can just look into even the work. We're not necessarily talking about this, but even the work of Nikola Tesla, right? Really breaking the components of life down into energy, vibration, and frequency. Something just popped in my head, and I'm going to ask you, I don't know if you know anything about it or not. Do you know why? So I have a science background, the periodic table, with all the chemical elements. Before 1920, ether, there was a whole part of the table under ether, and ether, it seems to be coming up more and more and more. I just didn't know if you've run into this, or anybody even in the chat. I wonder why they got rid of it, because it sounds like it's pretty powerful energetically, the components that go with a part of the ether table. Have you heard this before?
No, this is absolutely new to me. No, this is fascinating.
I think it goes along with what we're talking about. With the vibration and the frequency. And it's been showing up in my field a lot. And with the ladies that get together, that's come up too. But ether, constantly about ether, and you'll hear it every now and then. We even have a saying, right? It must be floating off into the ether sometimes when you can't find something. So I thought, I'm going to ask you, Linda.
But I must I must confess that that's not something I've heard of, but certainly was it Nikola Tesla's work 100%, and I think that's very much where we do look at, as you said, the frequency and the vibration, and most importantly, the use of copper.
Of what? Sorry?
The work that he was doing with copper.
Oh, copper!
Because copper is, and again, that was within the unifier as well. But I think copper is one of those metals that are becoming more and more popular and more used, because if we look at some of the tools and equipment that they do use off planet, I mean, that's again one of the reasons within the unifier that we were using the selenite, for an example, is because selenite and certain crystals they use off planet the same as we use sort of like a knife and a fork when we eat. It's more of an everyday thing. And I think, as you were saying, on the periodic, we haven't been using the type of metals and the type of I said I don't quite know as much as yourself in regards to the periodic table, but I know especially in this day and age, copper isn't something that we're used to necessarily using, and I think it was actually banned as quite a bad thing for quite some time, where actually the properties and the antibacterial properties, I mean, to use copper as a part of dowsing is very powerful, because it doesn't transmit the energy through to the user.
I agree. Or I'm thinking
it goes into the copper and stays. So yeah, absolutely. But no, that's fascinating. Thank you.
We've got Wench here that says, hi, Asria. And there was somebody else, Linda Bennett, I believe, that said, hi, Asria. So I wanted to make sure I said hi to them.
Melinda.
I don't know why that popped in my head. I think as we were talking about this, and I haven't done enough digging into ether because it's a little bit harder to find because it's like it's never, ever been there. And then I started hearing more and more scientists talking about the ether on different podcasts and stuff. And I thought, and they were mentioning something about the periodic table. And I thought, well, it's not on there. So I started the research I did. It was removed, I believe, around 1920. Yeah. So next time, you know what? I wonder if the council might have some info on that even. I don't know.
I will ask and find out.
Okay. I'm being nosy now. I'm being we're all cheeky like this in the field.
Oh, trust me. I'm asking questions all the time. When I knew it was, they're kind of like a council of scholars, because to me it's always, and especially like us as individuals as well. I mean, the word scholar is that you're always learning, but you're always teaching.
And I think in order to teach, you have to have knowledge.
Yeah. So, and I said, when I first started, there was 25, but the more clients I'm seeing and the more beings that are coming on board, but not only that, I think it's also the way the world is going at the moment, because we are finding out more and more. I mean, we could even go into kind of like the hybridization beings. We could go into we could go into I said the type of beings and the type of star seeds that are now coming down to this planet. I mean, you do have, we've gone from the rainbow children to, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. And we've gone from like the crystal children to the indigo. And now again, we're up to the hybrids. We're bringing in like these different light codes. So again, we are learning more and more every time. And I think also within that learning as well is more about, and I want to go back to that lady's question about when she was asking about the different races of felines, is that within each of the beings that we're aware of, for an example, with the Lemurians, for an example, it's like kind of saying, oh, there's only one race of human being. But you've got your African, Indian, Asian, etc. And with them, it's the same as well. I've had a part of the group, one that threw me off completely some time ago, was it was a Lemurian, because that's what I felt. But actually, this being that stepped forward had a very different look. It had the tallness, it had the slender, it had the slightly elongated face. But actually, where you'd go for like a silvery blue kind of skin, the actual tone was more a darker, maybe even more towards black.
Oh wow.
And then we were looking into the original colonizers and going down that route to see whereabouts on Gaia did they actually land. And then I was linking it back to where the actual client is. So we go down that route as well, depending on dare I say what package like to go in, because I said we do level 1 where it's just the overall, the main frequency. But I do work with clients over weeks and months to go down into those different levels.
No, because it's
one thing I did. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say no, because I'm thinking of the readings I've seen you reveal with the person's permission. And you've gone pretty deep, and they're so dead on every single time. It is mind blowing to watch people receive their results. And again, you don't, just so people are listening, no, Asria does not go around and reveal people's results on camera. This is with these people's permission, and they're open to it, and they've been willing and an active participant through the whole thing. So just so you know. Sorry, I wanted to add that.
Thank you. No, absolutely. No, thank you so much for that. But one of the things that I said earlier was around which started coming through, because I said this piece of work is evolving all the time. And what we're picking up on now is a part of that expansion. And to know oneself a little bit more is a lady who, well, this has happened a couple of times, but this lady in particular had when she came to me, a slightly older lady, and she said, everyone has always told me that my main being frequency is Pleiadian.
Okay.
She said, I know I'm not a Pleiadian starseed, but all the readings that I've been going to has said that I am. And she said, it's never really resonated with me. She said, I do feel that they're right to a point. But actually, she said, it doesn't necessarily resonate with me. Anyway, I went away. A few days later, I linked in and done the session. It was one of the first times I actually started recording it on the device. So that as I was tuning in, as soon as things were coming through, I was talking it out as to what I was seeing and what was happening. And it was like a movie. And where I was tuning into was more into the rays of it. I now know this rays of intention, because there was all of this information that was coming through. And when I listened back to it afterwards, it transpires that actually she was working. I need to remember this correctly now. Her main frequency was a different being, but actually she was working very closely with the Pleiadians in one of the conflicts. So one of the reasons why she did have that larger frequency within her is because she was working very, very closely in one of the conflicts with this particular Pleiadian, which we then linked back to somebody who she's actually working with on this planet at the moment, because she was looking after children with disabilities.
Okay.
And when this lady came to started working with her, they both kind of said, I know you, and they really, really kind of got on well. And from a strategic and logistical point of view, she said, I've never worked with somebody so amazingly in my whole life. I mean, they were working together for a good 2 or 3 years. But when we went back to the recording, she wasn't necessarily quite an admiral or captain or anything like that. But it was in one of the galaxies, in one of the conflicts, and she was again helping and supporting the younger children. But one thing I would like to say to the listeners is I don't know anything about my clients pre-tuning in. There's just the full name at birth, your full name at birth. So when you arrived here, what was the full name that you were given? Your date of birth, time of birth, if possible.
Okay.
Your location where you were born, or indeed just the country, and where you are now, so I can go and tune in and find you.
Oh, interesting.
That is it.
That's interesting, because like for astrology, and I don't know a lot about it, but Carrie Lynn and I were talking about it. I think it was before the weekend or over the weekend. And she's telling me all this stuff. And I said, listen, I know a little bit about astrology, but not a lot. And we were on video and her face kept going, and I'm going, what? But I said the same thing, right? You need these specifics in order to tune in and pick up on certain things, right? Like, so for me, for example, yes, where I live now is still the same place where I live now, but it used to be 2 cities. When we were very involved with the Hudson's Bay Company and the UK, it used to be 2 cities. Now it's 1 and a different name.
Oh.
Yes. And this place is very magical. I don't know what it is. We have every kind of paranormal activity or reports of beings, and I have filmed so many strange, unusual things in the sky. If Julie Jean Bassett is still here, she experienced one with me one night because she sent me a picture. I remember it was a full moon in November, and she sent a picture and she goes, "What do you think this is?" And I said, can you get a video? And of course, I showed it to my partner down. He goes, that's a lens flare. I go, no, lens flares are usually white. And so I start filming it, and I went, oh, he's right. So I told him. But as I'm filming, and I always voice message because I say my phone thinks it knows how to spell better than me. And I talk to so many people. And I'm saying to Julie as I'm filming it, and I'm going, holy crap, there's some strange red light up there. And it was like going all over the place. I'm getting goosebumps. And so I sent her the video. Yeah, Julie goes, I remember. Yeah, I sent it to her and she watched it. But why so much activity in the skies over here too? Very, and
Wow.
UK as well, right? Lots of activity in the UK.
I think certainly over the past few years, there has been more and more activity. And as you said with your goosebumps just now, I think that is absolutely key. Is that when you do see something up in the air, just ask to communicate.
I do.
And see how you feel. Yeah, see how it makes you feel. 100, because 9 times out of 10 you'll feel it before you see it. That's always been my rule.
You're right. I'll be playing on my phone and I'll hear, look up.
Yeah. Oh no, trust me. I think it was like last week or something like that. I was woken up nearly every single night, and now I don't even like draw my curtains anymore because they're just like, wake up, and yep, there they are, flashing away. Which is wonderful. But yeah, normally you see it, you feel it before you see it. But also another trick, I'm calling it a trick, but you mentioned that it was on a full moon. Okay,
just that one time.
Yeah. If you feel it and you don't automatically go, oh, there they are. Even obviously, if it's like not a waxing moon, but even if you got like even the small crest of a moon there, it might not even be a full moon,
a waning moon. And
have a look at that first, because what they do is they utilize the energy and the magnetic and the energetics. Sorry, I'm not scientist based at all, but so I'm trying to explain this best I can. But they use the magnetic pull and the energies of the moon in order to come closer into our atmosphere. They probably utilize a lot more than that. But so if you feel it and you can't necessarily see it straight away, always find the moon first, or even the sun, because sometimes they are coming out during the day now. See what the sun's doing, because I'd just like to share one story, if I may.
Please do.
Is I had a particularly large birthday last year, and I had the really wonderful opportunity of being in Portugal.
Nice.
And the one thing I wanted to do was go on the evening of my birthday is just to be on the beach. And I was with a really, really wonderful group of people. There's only 4 or 5 of us. And I remember went for a paddle. So just put my feet in the sea of an evening, beautiful full moon. And all of a sudden, everything went very quiet. It's almost as like somebody had pressed the pause button. And this was and if any of the people are watching from Portugal, it's in Cascais. And I'm really hoping I said that correctly. And because I was staring at the moon, and the moon suddenly went yellow. And I was like, no, this is like 10, 11 o'clock at night. That's not the sun. It went yellow.
Oh, wow.
And all of a sudden, from behind the moon was this disc, very thin.
Wow.
Ship that came just above it. And literally, I looked, and this might have even been seconds. And it was kind of like the whole world had stopped. Oh, I'm getting emotional about it.
Contessa, Contessa said it correct.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But it's just this moon went yellow, and they just came just above it. And to me, as I said, it could have been minutes, it could have been seconds, it could have been hours. I have no idea. And when I stopped and I looked around, I was like, did anyone else see that?
See that?
And for me, that was the biggest confirmation of, yeah, you're doing all right, girl. You're doing the right thing. We're here. We're with you.
What an experience. Because
it was, makes me well up every time.
I can't eat. Tia Bean says, oh, wow. And so I have, okay, so Joe Montaldo, who runs this network, has done a 20 plus year study. He runs, or he's big part of International Center for Alien Research. And
wow.
On his, that's why we've got two names. It's in the beginning, the network's been around for 25 plus years. So it used to be called United Public Radio Network, because there was a lot of people that didn't want to come on a show named UFO Paranormal and it was UFO Paranormal Radio Network. It's UPRN. That's why we have two names. So on his website, he has the study, and it's asking people that have any of these three attributes: Rh negative blood, green eyes, and red hair. And if you do, what has been your experience either with an abduction or seeing a lot of UFOs or what? Because the theory is, I've heard him say 20,000 years. I've heard him say 70,000 years. 70,000 years feels right. Before that, those genetic attributes never existed within the human genome. So where did it come from? Now, I don't have any of those attributes. My mother has all three. Now, my mother does not believe in any of this kind of stuff, but I can tell you that when I was in my previous home that was really haunted, and I've lived in the city my whole life, I took the car to go to a minute up the street to the store. I've hurt my back as a nurse, so to walk with a cane and everything, it's a pain in the butt. So I jumped in the car. I should have been probably 5 minutes at the most. Well, I blinked as I was at the lights, closed my eyes. Next thing I know, I hear my phone ringing and my eyes pop open. It's my partner, Del. I've been gone an hour and a half, and he says, "Where are you? I thought you got in an accident." I had to say to him, "I don't know. I was somewhere way out in the country. I'm surprised you even got cell service. I can tell you the building I was in front of. My car was in the opposite direction, and it was a half moon building. It looked like it hadn't been lived in. There were windows that were broken out." I still have no explanation about what happened. None. So I wasn't scared. I just kept thinking, how did I get here? Like, what happened? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
that's incredible.
I don't know if my family took me for a visit or something. Yeah. So, and that experience you just shared, how profound. And yet you talk to other people that have had experiences like what we're talking about, or the phenomena with owls. Mike Clellan talking about people that with the owls and then experiencing, seeing UFOs or having extra or off-world connections. Have you seen that as well with your work, or is it because you go so deep that you're dealing more with vibration and frequency that you don't see some of these more human type things that I just mentioned?
Oh, I absolutely see with the owls, but I mean, one particular story does come to mind.
Okay.
And God, I really wish I could remember where in America she was. Beautiful lady, and she'd driven to this lake in her car so that I could that we could go through my findings and present her with the I provide like a one-pager report type thing, and she'd driven to this lake. I didn't realize I could see that she was just in her car,
right?
And anyway, so we were talking about it, and one of her dominant DNAs, her main frequency, was avian. I mean, we were talking for a good 15, 20 minutes
Oh,
beforehand.
wow. Mm-hmm.
And her main one. And literally, as soon as I said the word, the emotional reaction was intense. And literally, as she composed herself, oh, I'm getting all goosey. No word about an eagle flew over the car. She said, I've been living here my whole life. I'm in my 50s. I have never seen an eagle in my hometown.
No way.
I really wish I could remember where this was, and I'm kicking myself that I can't.
But when you come on next time, you can tell us. Yeah.
And she said, I've lived here my whole. I've never. And I said, oh, I'm getting all goosey. She said, that was the confirmation of the connection. Because as soon as she had that emotional release to say, yes, that's me, that's what I am, that's who I am. Then right? they gave her that sign. Mm-hmm. And trust me, I mean, we don't really get sort of eagles or anything like that over here. So even I kind of was very much taken aback because it was beautiful.
And
absolutely
huge.
Beautiful. And it was cute. And literally it swooped down kind of like from the back of her car, wow, slightly over her windscreen, and then obviously I couldn't see it as soon as it passed her camera, but she said it went up and it went to the tree. There was the lake, and then there was the tree over the other side of the lake, and said it was sitting on that tree until we finished our session.
Wow.
Because she turned the camera around, but it was too far away. I couldn't see it, but I obviously trusted that was the case.
Well, Linda's sharing, I don't have owls near me, but I have a plethora of birds daily. Hummingbirds, egrets, crows, birds of prey. They leave me feathers as gifts. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, my.
Okay. So, yeah, absolutely. There's always these types of clarification and confirmations that are happening all the time. And I mean that was just one, and it was incredible.
You had mentioned about neurodivergent people. Now, my son that passed away was an adult, but I say with no disrespect, he was very much like that precocious age of a 5 to 8 year old, and but he had severe autism, and we are seeing more and more and more and more younger children and people being diagnosed with this. Now, I don't know if it has anything to do with off-world DNA, but I know you'd mentioned something earlier about that. What are you finding, or what kind of messages are you receiving when it comes to neurodivergence, I will say?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. Again, this isn't fact. This isn't scientific fact. This isn't, but from looking at the range of frequencies and DNAs that we're picking up in individuals, it's becoming more and more apparent to me. And I didn't notice it for quite a long time. And it was just having a conversation with a colleague, client of mine, who said, isn't it interesting when you have two dominant DNAs of beings that are from very different planets?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that. So an example of that would be, I had a lady who had her main one, and I'm going to say avian again, but then the second one was amphibian.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
To me, that fine, great, fantastic. They both have amazing qualities and abilities. And it was only sort of towards the end of our conversation that she said, oh yeah, I'm on the autistic spectrum, and I have sensitivities to various lights and touches, and sorry, I don't quite
it's like no filters. No filters. That's what it is.
So if you look at it, you've got a being that is, I mean, they're amazingly tall.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're looking at a bird, they fly high. But if you're looking at the blue avians, they're really tall. So you've kind of got height from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But then the amphibians, if you're looking at them, they're kind of like living in and out of water. I mean, both of their eyes are very, very specialist because they have to look underwater. Another great example, which I had, was a gentleman actually who was part reptilian,
Mm-hmm.
part Syrian. And you think, oh, that's not too much, but actually, you've kind of got the softest and the hardest.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he was a sergeant in the army, but he said I couldn't do that any longer, so now he's a therapist.
Oh, wow. What a difference.
So you've got the light side, you've got the very kind of like strategic, logistical kind of military side, but then you've kind of got this very loving, caring, supporting side. And he said, it's like I've got two personalities going on here.
That would make sense.
So again, this isn't based on any sort of scientific fact. This is the data and the observations through this work that the clients are feeding back. But the main one to me is where you do get those beings or those frequencies of two very, very different dominant frequencies of two different beings from different planets. So you've got the very different sensitivities that are going on, and you can't quite sort of balance them up. Does that? I hope that makes sense.
I'm just thinking so much as you're talking about it, but it does. It sounds like this gentleman was drawn to the one strong off-world DNA and just realized that I'm not cut out for it, and then went in the opposite direction. And I keep hearing it almost felt more like home. It felt like him. And as you were talking about describing the beings, I'm even thinking of my son. Both my boys are very tall, as am I, and their father is too. We come from very small people. But my son, Justin, who passed away, they always wanted to do genetic testing on him because he had such long fingers and long toes. Yes, I'm thinking about this. And I said, I don't care. I don't need unless it's going to affect
very amphibian. Yeah.
Loved the water. Loved Pisces. Loved the water. But I don't think
that's incredible.
Like I'm when I hurt my back, I was almost 5'10". Now I'm on a good day, I'm 5'9". But I have big hands. But he had noticeably, like, not weird, like you think he had like some,
of course,
but they were long, like so long. Even his toes were. The doctor was always concerned about that, the pediatrician, and I said, well, if he's healthy, I'm okay with it. I don't need to have answers. But what you just talked about made me think, what if it was two sort of competing type DNA? Or maybe,
and if there is one that's if there is one certainly that's more that is stronger than the other. But you do also bring up a really good point there as well, which I haven't sort of looked into as much, but you do in some instances, especially with star seeds, we are noticing more and more the physical elements as well.
Oh, okay.
Again, where you are seeing more people who are a lot taller.
Yep.
A lot, as you said, with maybe elongated fingers, where the skin might be a little bit more transparent, is what I'm getting.
This wasn't always so soft like that. People would say that to him all the time about his skin. His hands were so, especially his hands, so soft.
Yeah. So when I actually get to meet the individual as well, is sometimes there are some, obviously it's virtual, so sometimes you only get to see people like this and you kind of see chest upwards, but So you don't know that I'm really, really short. But I'm just,
We're
just on
always
the
the same height on
five
camera.
foot mark.
We're the same height on camera.
So I know that sometimes when the beings do appear in my room, I'm kind of looking up. But there we go. Yeah, you're just showing off now, aren't you? Really? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But there are more physical characteristics that are coming through, which I personally find absolutely fascinating, and we can only really use those to our advantage. Definitely.
So I gotta ask you, because I have this fascination with giants, well, never mind dragons and all these off-world beings, because they're starting to show up. Now, I know we have to be uber careful because of AI and deep fakes, but they are I don't know if you'll get this reference. I do. He's Canadian, Kevin. He says, and I'll call Rusty. There used to be a show on when we were little kids, The Friendly Giant, and there was a giraffe in there named Rusty, and the giraffe always used to say something to the effect, I mean, I'm going to be 60 in August, so it was a long time ago, but he would always say, I'm going to look way up at Rusty the giant. Or the giant was looking at Rusty. But my point is, I was going to say is, we're seeing more and more like evidence of giants and things like this. So where do they fall into this? Like, what did you find out, even with say the giants? Are they from an off-world being? Are they, you hear they're Nephilim, you hear they were here before, so many different theories on this. And I know giants has come through in some of your readings that I've seen the results. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And again, they were ones that I didn't see at all. The giants, for me personally, when they come through, it's more of an ancestral. It's more of an ancestral type of frequency and energy. And absolutely, I completely agree with you in the fact that they are becoming more, well, they're waking up. So similar to the dragons. Dragons are, not only are we seeing more and more of them, like the skeletons and things like that appearing, but actually the energies, the channelings are coming more and more. But I know with Ron's one in particular,
I know I didn't want to bring his name up, but it was Ron. And then you had the AI drawings, like the pictures, and the giant looked like Ron, if I remember correctly.
Oh no, that was my first time trying the AI with that. I must confess.
I know, but it looked pretty cool. Either way, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought I would try and kind of do a picture in the giant, but with them, it's, to me, it is more of an ancestral, because they are the protectors.
Okay.
And they do work very much with the elementals, and that's kind of the lineage that they come through.
Okay. So
they were one of the first beings. It again, depending on what history you refer to, but from my perspective and knowledge and understanding, was through the elementals.
Okay, because that's what I feel. They've been here a long time. Now, please forgive me if I haven't said your name correctly. It might be Wenche or Wench. Okay, they say we in Norway have always heard stories about giants. Yeah. And the Kandahar giant, that's a huge story back from 2006 with the U.S. military. And then there's been more and more stories that people, especially if they're in caves or, cave spelunking, as it's calling, a lot of them. And I have a question too. Why do a lot of them seem to have red hair? When people have experiences with them, it's red hair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that's a slightly new one on me as well, in all honesty.
If you look at the Kandahar giant, you can find it. They had red hair. There's been other people talking about. I know now. Again, I've never been able to verify it, but I believe out in British Columbia on the West Coast in Canada, there was a guy that was filming what he thought was a giant. Mexico. But when you hear people's stories, a lot of them are talking, even researchers, why the red hair?
Oh, no, I'll have a look into that. I genuinely, I mean, red hair is usually linked to more of the angelic realm.
Here's Carrie Lynn. Yeah, Carrie Lynn did a show. She goes, red-haired giants of Lovelock Caves. Yeah, they've got red hair.
No, yeah, I'm sorry, guys, if I missed that one, but I know red hair is normally red hair and freckles and the lighter skin. From my experience, is always more linked to the angelic realm. So, but I guess it's also possible that there has been that link there in time, because, well, the angelic realm has been here as long as well. So, and we are talking about sort of hybrids, interbreeding, and things like that as well. So that is possible. That's the only thing I can think of from my perspective and experience.
I just like
I would be interested to find out more.
I think what it is when we're in our field, and probably why because I'm the same way, and I know Carrie Lynn said it. Hi, Mish. Mish is visiting us from the future, I always say, because it's Tuesday over in Australia. So thank you for joining us. But that's, I think, part of our field, right? Most people I run into have so many questions. And then the more answers we find, there's still a gazillion more questions. There's so much to learn. So,
and that's what that's what I feel so amazingly grateful and privileged that over the past year, 2 years, that the way this work is expanding week on week and month on month with what is then coming out. And then, as you said, you then go off on this rabbit hole or this tangent, as you said, about the giants. And the one I had the privilege of was with, as you said, the mermaids and the dragons, but then also going back into our galactic history with a number of my clients, finding out about what their past was there. I mean, I don't necessarily do the galactic Akashic records or the Akashic, but it's certainly the information that's coming through, which if you would have told me that was going to be happening within this work 2 or 3 years ago, I would have called you a liar. But then I didn't realize that this was also going to take off and change so many lives as it has over the past couple of years as well. So I just feel truly honored to be working and meeting some incredible and amazing people like yourself and Carolyn as well.
Thank you. We feel the same. Now, Tia Bean, who I know is familiar to you, says the pharaoh mummies in the Cairo Museum have red hair, elongated skulls, and very long fingers and toes. There you go. So
I know about the longer elongated skulls, but that's really interesting that they've got red hair as well.
That's why I kept.
We can definitely pick up on the next one, because
when Carrie Lynn and I met, I was helping produce her show when she came on the network, and I still remember I came on camera, she came on camera, and the minute she said hi, I went in my head, oh my goodness, we're going to be friends. And as you know, just in the beginning, I got talking to her one night, and she brought up about giants because she did a show on giants. I'm like, you too, you want to know about giants? And that's, I've never had, now I'm getting goosebumps again. I've never had that question answered. Why the red hair? And then Wenche is saying we have children's stories about giants and trolls and elementals.
Yeah, I would very much link it with the angelic realm in some way, shape, or form.
Why the red hair with the angelic realm? Just out of curiosity, I'm asking. Yeah, we're Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. Sorry. So, yeah, sorry, I can't even remember what I asked you now, but
the red hair with the angelic realm. Yes. You know what? Actually, that's a really good. Is something that I've always believed and linked back to, but I've never actually asked myself the question as to why. So
I just said it.
I put my hands up. If I don't know something, I don't know something, and I think that's certainly.
I have great respect for that.
I did know it. Maybe I did know it, and I've forgotten. But
I've heard it before.
I don't know. But that's a very good question.
Yeah, I've heard it before, but I've never been able to find an answer,
Me
right?
neither.
And I
Yeah.
usually equate red hair and green eyes and the freckles and fair skin because my mother is of that coloring, but she's of English and Scottish and actually First Nation. Her father was part First Nations descent, right? Like, and so, you know, Ireland and Scotland, not so much, I don't think I
You've
would
got
say.
the Celts. Yeah. The Celts very much also had kind of like the red hair as well, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It's either, I was going to say red or blonde, but mine's gone to pink. But
And
my natural blonde color.
I know my light is playing up, but it's my hair. So I thought, oh, we're going to be really bright and colorful tonight with your pink hair and my purple hair. Now,
Yeah,
Miss,
either the red or the blonde.
yes, yeah, I love the color of your hair. Mish says red
Oh,
hair.
okay.
According to Google, it was dark, but the sun made it go red. I don't know.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, we only have about 7 minutes left. This just flew by so quick.
No. Oh, I could talk to you all night.
I know. That's why I told you when we touched base and I go, oh gosh, don't even worry because I know I'm going to have you back on again. There's so much to talk about. Maybe you could spend the last few minutes, if you're comfortable, explaining to people, like if they booked a reading with you, you know, sort of what to expect and what kind of things, how it could help people in everyday life. Why? Because I think it's a really powerful thing that you do, and a lot of people may not understand it. Would that be okay for you to explain?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for the time to do that. So within the reading is, and it's the only word that I can really call it, is if the information that I mentioned is passed on at the start, so I can start that connection. And then we meet, obviously virtually, because obviously there's people from all around the world, which is wonderful. And within that session, I said, learn a little bit more about each other. Then what I do is then go away and spend 2 or 3 days kind of going into this transmission, as I call it. It's not channeling, and is that it's picking up on those frequencies. And I put my recorder on, and everything that comes through is recorded in that time and in that space. So it will tell me what the main frequencies are, because as I was talking, the main one of the scholars will step forward. I'll get that feeling when I tune into you, and also then using the unifier as part of kind of like that third level checking.
Mm-hmm.
And once that level 1, level 2, and level 3, depending on what reading that you would like, the dominant frequencies, the dominant DNAs that are within you come through. I then meet up with you again, and we and I share that information with you. And I also do a little bit of a write-up as well. So you get not only the recording of the session, but also this is sort of matured over time. When I was first presenting it back on those previous times that you were mentioning earlier, the readings were slightly different, but said this has evolved over time, and I couldn't find myself writing. So now, in order to ensure that everything that is transmitted, everything that is coming through is now recorded, and then I pick up a few of those notes and put them in a report. But the main sharing is when we meet for a second time.
Okay.
And then I share what those beings are, what the behaviors are, what those abilities are. And I think I've only ever had 1 or 2 clients that it didn't quite resonate with at that time, but did later on. But the main thing that really helps and supports clients is, as I've said before, it's that roadmap. it's that confirmation and clarity of who they are, what they like, what they've been experiencing, and most importantly, who they can tune in and connect to and bring those abilities down right here, right now, in order to support your journey going forward. Because this is only part of the roadmap.
I've seen
I'm not saying this is all of it.
It's mind-blowing when people hear it and they go, oh my gosh, like you hit me like a nail on it, like the nail right on the head. Or I've even seen other people say, well, I wondered why I was always sort of drawn to that. Or so it can really help people kind of hone in, especially if they're on a journey of self-discovery, right? Because I'm running into a lot of people that are saying, you know, I'm feeling stuck. What's my purpose? Not that you're going to tell them their purpose, but the affinity with the energy, frequency, and vibration of what comes through, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that somebody may feel that they're, again, I don't get told this beforehand, but you may within yourself be thinking, oh, I would like to maybe go into more of from one thing to another, a little bit more into healing. Mm-hmm. But what maybe is the modality that's best for me? Because there's loads out there. Mm-hmm. And all the different beings use different modalities.
Absolutely.
Or we could then be going into words more strategic, logistical point of view, where actually you're good at controlling a group of people, as that lady was saying with the felines earlier, where they're more of a military type being. So actually your strengths come from that type of thing, potentially.
Mm-hmm. I think this is so powerful. Z-Sun Dragon or Kevin says, great show and guests. Please have her back. And I agree. And I hope that I will. Now we're booking into December, guys, but that's okay. It'll be here. It'll be here before we know it. But please tell people how to get a hold of you, find your YouTube channel, and anything you've got coming up. We got about 3 minutes before the light gate starts up. So.
Okay. Great. I'll try my best and be quick. Yes, so thank you so much. My website is ascensionthroughconnection.com. Or you can email me. Please do any questions or anything at Asria Beckham at gmail.com. I do have a YouTube. It's Asria Official. There's not too much on there at the moment. I am working on doing more, but I was focusing on clients, so there will be more content on there, absolutely. But yeah, Asria Beckham at gmail.com. What have I got coming up? Hopefully the ebook, which will have more of the findings, is going to be out within the next couple of months. I'm then going to hopefully start maybe some ascension groups. So those who would like to talk about this more, connect more, do a little bit more meditations, learn to start transmitting. So there will be groups that will be set up over the next few months, but certainly it's just more about sharing this journey. So please do feel free to come and contact me and have a chat. I do have a discovery call as well. If you're kind of not too sure what to do or how to do it, or if this is the right thing for you, I do offer a discovery call where we can just kind of have a conversation, have a chat first as well. Which is always a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for being here. Quickly, I'm going to let you guys go. No, don't go anywhere, because Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron are coming up right after this with the Light Gate. Also, if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/Angel Rock or any social media platform. When I have my course out with one of my very close friends, I call her the Crystal Wizardress, but you can find her under the Crystal Architect on Instagram and Facebook, Leanne Clark. We're putting out our first course, hopefully sometime in the fall. Then I'm going to a domain name in the meantime. But I have 2 groups also on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, the Angel Rocker Tribe for all things spiritual. I forgot to check who's coming on next week, but I know this Thursday, 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Beneath the Hollow Moon. We're doing all kinds of creatures and entities of the water, but better yet, with my good friend Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, who has Spirit Switchboard, 6 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. It's Carrie Lynn's birthday, so we're going to have a lot of fun. Another Leo. We're both Leos. I know Asria is a Leo too.
Birthday this month.
Yeah, I want to thank Carnation for sponsoring all of Monday's shows today. I'm finding out who's coming on next week. I always remember to check. Let's see. Oh, this is one of Gavin's authors. I know it is Christy Clemens. I can't tell you what it is because I didn't look ahead of time, but you know it's going to be awesome because Gavin always sends me great authors. We love you all, everybody. Oh, Michelle. Yeah, Mish is my birthday twin too because she's a day before in Australia, so we intersect. Anyways, we love you all, and stay tuned for Dolly and Preston. I'll see you on Thursday, everyone. Take care. Thanks for being here.